Collecting drama like Pokemon cards. And the next one we got is Druski Allegations by Jamari. I am very interested to see how this goes down. I find Druski kind of funny, so I have no idea what these allegations are about or what they're from. I saw Druski make a statement on Twitter. I will, while we're watching this, I'll bring that up. And for extra context, he might bring it up in the video. But let's see what this is about.
So Druski has been an up-and-coming star for around the last 4 years. He was ushered into the internet game around the same time as his good friend Jack Harlow, and it was like as Jack was rising up the ranks of music, Druski was rising up the ranks of comedy. During that time, he has become the most infamous skit comedian online, and this has obviously afforded him many opportunities, including his own show, countless sponsorships and commercials, features in movies, stake in Happy Dad alcoholic beverages, a feature on 2K, a comedy tour, and frequent collaborations with the biggest streamers and comedians in the world. Basically, this man became a cash cow, as Druski has an insane ability to take everyday situations and types of people and turn them into a viral skit or a meme. And his comedy just has this way of reflecting and predicting in real life situations. But now Druski has found himself wrapped up in the Diddy situation, as he and his friend and popular wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., have been listed in some of these Diddy accusations. But the claims they are throwing around here are honestly so outlandish that it almost makes this hard to believe. Now, yesterday was when this bombshell would hit the timeline. In the matter of Ashley Parham versus Sean Diddy Combs, an amended complaint names 2 more plaintiffs and several additional defendants, including Odell Beckham Jr., Druski, and a myriad of other people. So previously, it was just Ashley Parham versus Sean Diddy Combs.
Oh shit, dude! Druski been loading up on the baby oil. Now, we are going to pull this in for more context, right? I am going to be here. The allegations is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for the actual victims of abuse, but I am fully confident that the evidence will expose that this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives. Now, how accurate this is, I don't know. I know about as much information as everybody else does on the situation, but anytime there was the jokes toward Druski during the whole when the P. Diddy thing came out, he was pretty fucking hesitant, and I thought it was just him playing it off for comedic effect, but who knows, dude, who knows? Maybe Druski likes himself some baby oil and getting it slipped in.
And then a couple John Does that were not listed, and now those John Does, the main ones, have been listed as Druski and Odell Beckham Jr.
And, I mean, like, not looking good, Druski. I mean, the fact that you're thrown into it is not great, but I don't know much about his career other than recent stuff. I mean, I've seen him in a lot of recent stuff, and, like, obviously, Kaicenat videos, like, take over shorts and TikTok and everywhere that shorts are consumed, you will see Kaicenat and Druski having fun.
Total Druski's name is actually listed 45 different times in this lawsuit, but these are the key details that really make everyone think that this is
45 fucking times? Jesus Christ, dude. How many, like, I know Diddy's name's probably in there 5,000 times, but I want to know, compared to everybody else, how many times that is.
Pretty far-fetched. Defendant Diddy then instructed another defendant Doe to also violate plaintiff defendant Doe, who has been determined to be defendant Druski, is what they're alleging. They say instead of immediately violating the plaintiff, defendant Druski doused plaintiff with more oil and lubricant and then jumped on top of the plaintiff's naked and oiled body, treating it like a slip and slide, and knocking the wind out of the plaintiff due to his...
I'm sorry, dude. It's just, there's just like, I just see Druski like, I'm Druski, and he's just spraying baby oil and like, cowabunga, and slaps and slides off of him onto the floor like it's a fucking skit. Just
enormous size. So they're saying Druski was in there slipping and sliding all around. Defendant Druski then caught himself from sliding over the plaintiff's oiled body, and off the bed, he then began violating the plaintiff through her reproductive parts.
Oh, no.
While Defendant Druski was violating the plaintiff, Defendant Diddy sat in a chair near the bed and began pleasuring himself while recording plaintiff's violation by Defendant Druski. Another party's phone.
So they got this shit on fucking camera? Druski, you might be cooked, dog. If it's on camera, I'm sorry, dude. If they got video footage of you doing it, well, that's fucked, dog.
On the bed near the plaintiff. The plaintiff then attempted to grab the phone, but it slipped out of her hands and onto the floor due to the oil/lubricant that had been doused all over her person by defendants Diddy and Druski. Obviously, at this point, the baby oil is like infamous in this Diddy case. For those of you who don't remember, they claim that they discovered over 1,000 bottles of laced baby oil in Diddy's house.
And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff.
I know I shouldn't be laughing at this, guys. I know that this is serious shit, and I feel bad that the people had to go through it. But, like, I can't get the image of Druski fucking sitting, he's sitting there spraying baby oil, and Druski just slip running at full velocity and landing and sliding off of a person. It's such a funny image, and do I know it's horrible? Absolutely. But is it fucking hilarious at the same time? A little bit.
Allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Defendant Diddy began laughing at plaintiff's attempt to grab the phone. Throughout this violent gang violation, Defendant Diddy made constant belittling remarks to plaintiff, including that he owned her now. When Defendant Druski was finished violating the plaintiff, Defendant KK entered the room to examine the condition of the plaintiff, who was barely able to move or control her bodily functions.
That's fucking gross, dude. That's bad. That's really bad. I don't have a funny retort for that one. That's just kind of disgusting and sad.
And they say this is when they attached her to an IV and pretty much brought her back to life, made sure she wasn't gonna die. And that was apparently when Diddy, Shane, who is apparently the man who introduced Diddy to this person, KK, Odell, and Druski then exited the residence to the backyard where they smoked marijuana and cigarettes. And so obviously this all had the internet going absolutely wild. Of course, people immediately started resurfacing old clips of Diddy hanging out with Druski.
Don't mind if I do.
They were basically saying that this clip hits different now.
Dude, this is like to say that I saw the Conan, where Conan, he was talking to Conan about his parties, and it like how you have to turn the heat off so everybody wants to get naked and stuff, and how every clip with Diddy from now on, it's just gonna hit different. It's the same thing like when I was watching the movie Jack. There's a movie with Robin Williams where he's like an adult in a kid's body. Like he has this disease where he ages faster than everybody else, right? So when he's like 10, he looks like 30. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, but his doctor in the movie is Bill Cosby, and that movie hits different knowing that Bill Cosby's there.
It was also rumored that Diddy had been lacing drinks at his infamous parties.
I wouldn't, shot.
Dude, it's just such an awkward. It is very Druski comedy here, though. That's very normal Druski comedy. It's like how to make everything seem awkward and stuff. I did pull this up. I pulled this up for context to see here. I'm doing a little bit of investigating. Kind of, this is Soap Central. We can check out another one if chat wants me to check out another one. But I got right here. It says Druski has been one of the most blah 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 blah, and then he's been took place in 2018. Now, the comedian has no time firing back on social media, denying the accusation, reminding people that he wasn't even famous during that time and had no connections with Diddy, he said. And born in according to Yahoo News, he was uninspired and depressed due to these stories, and he's decided to leave school and move back with his mother. Persuaded by his friends, he started posting comedy skits on Instagram in October 2017. His big break came in 2020 when he started working with rapper Jack Harlow. Now, that kind of sets up a timeline to prove Druski's didn't have the connections, and I haven't seen anything that disproves his claims yet. So right now, I just don't see anything that really has proven the fact that he could be there. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm not discounting what her experience was because it sounds awful. I'm just kind of it looks like this Soup Central thing is the first thing. I mean, if we go to this, we can look at from Drake to Kendrick. It doesn't say a timeline here. If I had a timeline, I mean, it just seems like he kind of popped up around the 2020 era, and but I mean, he popped up in 2020 with Jack Harlow, but it doesn't show anything before that. So either the timeline's really fucked up, or it's also like she has the wrong year and maybe it happened later. I don't know. I'm not willing to say Druski's 100% innocent without all the facts, but as I'm sitting right here, it looks like he could be innocent in this regard if it took place in 2018.
Druski was also asked at one point what it was like to attend these Diddy parties.
You ever been to one of Diddy parties?
Yeah, I've been in attendance. Not, hey, what the fuck you smirking for?
You seen that?
I've been in attendance.
We just asking regular
That's all I
questions.
said. That's all I said. I said I've been in attendance. I have been in attendance.
We never been. We just asking.
We just asking.
Yeah. As soon as you asked, he said,
You have fun?
I ain't seen that.
"Yeah, you did." Huh?
I ain't seen that.
Yeah, I had fun. Yeah, I mean it was a party. I wasn't at one of them parties.
What party? Say that about the party. What party you talking about?
Y'all smart.
What party you talking about?
I have been in attendance at a puff party. You know what I'm saying? I've been in attendance. Yeah, I went. Yeah, the party I went to, it was girls turn up. You know what I'm saying? The regular. You know what I mean? Other celebrities and shit. Yeah,
That's what you do.
Now, obviously, Druski does like to troll. Yes, his body language became a little bit uncomfortable, but you do have to keep in mind that thousands of different people have been to these Diddy parties, allegedly, and obviously...
And I mean, he was known as being, like, throwing the best parties in Hollywood and stuff. He's known as one of the... that's, like, what he was known for. So, knowing that some parties were just, like, fucking... Not all of them were eyes wide shut parties. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's not true or whatever. I'm not trying to defend Diddy. I think that there was shit that was going on. But to what extent, we don't know. And the timeline being as weird as it is, I don't know. But it is funny to think about Druski fucking fat ass running into another room coated in baby oil and sliding on a person.
When they're all asked about it, they all say, well, you know, I went to the Diddy party, but I didn't go to, like, the Diddy party. Like... the behind the doors party that was going on. So then I started questioning, well, what was Diddy's real relationship with Druski? And as you guys can see here, back in 2021, Druski did have this show called Sneaking In with Druski, and upon further inspection, you can see that this was airing on Revolt, which was a media network that was primarily owned and founded by Sean Diddy Combs. And although he no longer owns any shares in the company, back in 2021 he was still running that shit, and he presumably gave that opportunity to his boy Druski. I also thought that this little tidbit was interesting because Odell Beckham Jr. and Druski have been friends for quite a few years now. Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. struck up a friendship with Druski upon finding his videos and invited the comedian to stay at his home during the COVID-19 pandemic. And obviously the pandemic was back in early 2020, and that's where these dates really start
So...
not matching up because the
Yeah, dude, this is exactly what I was saying. Like, all of what I pulled up with those other dates, this is kind of proving it the same thing. That this is March 23rd, 2018. Like, the fact that he didn't even have his, he didn't even start posting on Instagram till the October 2017. This would have had to have been within the span of like 6 to 7 months that he just was famous enough to get a PDT's house.
Defendant is saying that this happened on March 23rd, 2018, way before Druski was even remotely famous or known online, where the defendant says that this guy Shane invited the plaintiff over to his home to assist him with his cancer medications because he stated he was weak and unable to open his medications. She says upon her arrival that this guy Shane wanted to give her a ride in his new car, and she says this is when this guy Shane pretty much set her up for the violation that allegedly involved Diddy, Druski, and OBJ. Now, much like with Jay-Z with his recent Diddy accusations, Druski would respond swiftly to this filing, where he says the allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke and living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation, so the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives. So he kind of has the same stance that Jay-Z had back a couple months ago, saying this whole thing is a bunch of bullshit, and the timeline isn't even really adding up. And of course, when something like this comes out, you're gonna have a lot of people running with the story, like this tweet that went viral where this girl says, I can't believe hashtag Odo Beckham Jr. and hashtag Druski are in this new Diddy lawsuit taking turns violating this girl. Wow. You had other popular hip-hop and media pages saying Druski did what? The same sentiment is shared here, ironically including this misinformation meme. Then you had people using Druski's own skits against him.
That was, I think, a joke. I think that one was a joke.
Like this guy who says there's no way that this Druski shit is real. Shit! Basically saying that that was Druski's reaction to this information. Another user says Druski after someone didn't give him consent.
Dude, like, come on, be real.
I mean, it is funny watching Druski squirm a little bit. I mean, obviously, I don't think he had any involvement because of the timeline. Now, I'm not saying that he never had any involvement anywhere. I'm going to cover my basis in case this motherfucker ends up doing something creepy down the line. But for right now, the timeline's not adding up.
Specifically seems to really be leading the charge when it comes to these Druski jokes about this very serious situation. He says Druski's lawyer right now.
We got good and bad news. Good news, we got your payment, buddy. Bad news, they gave you life. Sayonara.
So yeah, it's just crazy to see this guy's own skits and various statements.
It's like, this is what makes it the funniest, is because it's Druski. Like, he has so many skits and shit, and like this run right here, all I'm thinking of him is being naked in baby oil about to jump on somebody.
It's being used against him at this point, even if it is a joke. These are the type of things that people try to get off online, and they do end up going viral. And it's really all just for a couple little Twitter shekels and a little bit of clout. Like, it's not worth making this type of weird, shitty joke, whether you believe he's guilty for some reason or not. Because honestly, I think it's a whole bunch of nonsense. And
well, even if I don't think he's guilty, it's fucking funny.
It leads to other people making more serious statements like this. Okay, so now that Druski was named in the Diddy lawsuit for gang violation, this creepy skit he made in 2022 about guys getting girls drunk to have sex with them is aging so horribly. And it's like, does the person that posted this not understand that the entire point of this skit was to pretty much dog out guys that act like this?
Yep.
Like, the whole point of the skit is to say that guys who act like this are pieces of shit. Now, here is a clip from 4 months ago of this news network, and of the lawyer representing this woman, Ashley Parham, in this case, and now these other two Jane Does, speaking on behalf of her client and the entire situation.
Well, her attorney says she was in her 30s at the time of this alleged violent attack. It happened just about half a mile away from the Orinda police station here in a quiet neighborhood about 6 years ago.
So yeah, 6 years ago, long before Druski was known at all.
Ashley Parham says in 2018, Diddy and his entourage violently gangbang style her in Orinda. Her attorney, Ariel Mitchell, says it all started when she met a man named Shane Pierce in a bar in Contra Costa County, who began a FaceTime call with Diddy.
She actually...
I mean, who? Shane Pierce. Let's look up Shane Pierce. That's nothing. No, I'm not getting anything that, like, I looked up Shane Pierce and Druski and I'm not seeing anything. It's just like the timeline seems off, and it feels like they just threw these names in because they're popular names and they know they have association with Diddy. And I'm sure if there is an association, what is the association and how deep does it go? That could be a question.
Made a quip about Mr. Combs having something to do, that she didn't like him because he had something to do with Tupac's murder.
The lawsuit says Parham believed Pierce invited her over to set her up to be by Diddy. The Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office told us in a statement, a report was taken on March 23, 2018. We take these cases seriously, and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined the claims were unfounded.
And that does make things a little bit more interesting for me, because obviously a legitimate report was made at that time, but even back then the police say, well, we found no wrongdoing. As a matter of fact, they're saying we don't believe this ever even happened.
She also reported the incident to Walnut Creek Police and Orinda Police without naming Diddy, as she felt she would not be believed. The woman who lives there confirms Pierce lived there, but that he was too sick with cancer and ALS to have done this. She also says Pierce did not know Diddy.
So they're saying this guy has not only cancer, but also ALS. Now, if I really want to get into my conspiracy bag, I wanted to note here that I think that this all could just be a mastermind smokescreen being set by Diddy and his legal team. It's like Pokemon, okay? The accuracy goes down once you set the smokescreen. Because recently, the case against Jay-Z has been dropped without prejudice, which I believe means that they cannot, try to bring it back up in court. They cannot try Jay-Z again for the same thing. Obviously, there was a lot of holes in the timeline of that story. The accuser's own father said that he doesn't remember any of that taking place. And overall, the timeline and the series of events, especially when she came out on that news segment, just really were not adding up. And when the decision by the judge was made public and that entire thing was dismissed, Sean Combs' legal team would put out this statement. Today's complete dismissal by the 1-800 attorney is yet another confirmation that these lawsuits are built on falsehoods, not facts. For months, we have seen case after case filed by individuals hiding behind anonymity, pushed forward by an attorney more focused on media headlines than legal merit. Just like this claim, the others will fall apart because there is no truth to them. Sean Combs has never essayed or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. No number of lawsuits, sensationalized allegations, or media theatrics will change that reality. We will continue to fight these baseless claims and hold those responsible for these false claims. This is just the first of many that will not hold up in the court of law. And that's why I have the feeling that this entire thing is a bit of a smokescreen. Because if you have enough of these outrageous allegations coming out, it allows you to kind of start poking holes and giving a little bit of reasonable doubt to accusations that could actually be legit.
This goes into that innocent until proven guilty thing, and I haven't talked about the Diddy thing. I mean, I made jokes about it because they're funny. I mean, the fact that they found like a gajillion pounds of baby oil is hilarious. I mean, it's just fucking hilarious that he has that much baby oil at his house. It's like, oh, I can't take a shit. Well, maybe drink some baby oil. It's funny. But if this all comes down to he doesn't get any charges brought against him, or he not charged, none of the charges stick, and he ends up walking away scot-free, and none of this like actually gets proven in a court of law, there's just too much doubt. And I think by including people like Druski, it's only gonna muddy the timeline. Because even if, let's say this did happen to this girl, something bad did happen to her, and Diddy was involved, by bringing other big names into it to create a media frenzy, all you're doing is muddying the timeline and creating more reasonable doubt. Which now, looking at this, which previously I was all like, Diddy is a creep, and now I'm looking at this where the timeline makes absolutely no sense, where I can do the most small amount of research and prove that the timeline doesn't make sense. And now it's like, well, how much of this is accurate? How much of this is bullshit because of media frenzy? How much is this people coming out of the woodworks? Because this isn't as cut and dry as the Bill Cosby thing. Like with Diddy, they raided his house, they got the baby oil, and then we've been just waiting. We've been waiting. There's been like 4 Jane Does, I believe, and with Bill Cosby, there was like a gajillion people showed up out of nowhere, dude. It wasn't out of nowhere. There was like a few people that pulled cases against him, and then more and more. And it ended up being like 80 fucking women, dog. So this just seems a little different to all of those, and I'm not willing to go out on a ledge and say Diddy's innocent, because like I think all of these elite fucking guys are weirdos, right? They're all weirdos. They all have their little like cult thing going. They got their eyes wide shut parties, but I don't know. I don't know about this lawsuit now, and this brings into question, because like the only way, and this is conspiracy mindset, right? If Druski was broke, he found a job where he could he was like felicitating an elderly person, opening medicine bottles for him, kind of working as one of those in-home nurses, which is fucking hilarious to think of Druski as a fucking in-home nurse. But he's working as an in-home nurse. This guy knows Diddy. He's got connections from him. Diddy wants to stress test fucking Druski, so he lubes him up in baby oil and says slip and slide on a bitch. That is the only way this all makes sense. And that's a lot of hoops to jump through.
And it's like the more outlandish they get, like describing Druski as using her as a slip and slide and then the timeline not adding up at all, it just hurts the case for people who are possibly actual victims of abuse at the hands of P. Diddy. And at this point, it's like Diddy seems so seemingly stuck in this corner that it's like that's all they can do to kind of like alter the public perception a little bit. And as these cases start getting knocked down and dismissed, it kind of starts the social programming and people start to think, well, maybe these other things aren't real either. And obviously on the other end of the spectrum, you're going to have a whole bunch of people just bringing up false claims because they want a payday, they want a settlement. It's just the way they describe the entire series of events just seems a little bit too outlandish for me personally to believe. And I think that it could definitely hurt real victims in this case. Either way, I want to know what you guys think about these accusations down below. As always, also want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing, but as you guys know, it's been your boy, the Tan Superman, and some other
The Tan Superman, I like that.
lawsuits out here need to be covered. So
yeah, so I think it's a really good video. I think it put it in the getting called fat in a lawsuit is wild. Druski getting called enormous in a legal lawsuit as we die. So dude, this is just like I just thought it was so funny. I think this all is far-fetched. Y'all still blindsided by people's fame. They all guilty. Maybe. And this is the thing. I'm not willing to say that they're all innocent or make a statement here. I will wait until we get some actual fucking court cases gone down. If they get some like, oh, well, he did it. Well, he did it then. I mean, but right now we're just looking at like random bullshit. The timeline's not adding up. I think that, I mean, this is a good video. I think he did his due diligence. The video describes literally using like slip inside someone's and using someone's online name instead of their legal name. I'm not taking this shit serious, and that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like it all sounded. I mean, it's so fucking wild that I literally died laughing at the beginning of this video. So we'll see. I mean, definitely like and subscribe to my channel, guys. I don't know how much of this shit I'll cover. I thought it was kind of funny, so that's why we're here covering it. But I don't know. It's definitely poking holes, and I'm not willing to go out on a limb and say P. Diddy's never done anything creepy and weird and not a scumbag, because I definitely think that there's a huge possibility that he has. So, but I just don't see Druski's involvement being really there. That's all I got for you guys.